With all the talks of global warming, climate change, rising sea levels, doomsday scenarios from Nostradamus to the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012, it is difficult to find peace of mind. A message came to me in the form of a heart to share with the world, on where all my brothers and sisters will be able to continue living in peace. Understand, this place is not necessarily meant specifically for the proposed end of the world in 2012. However, at any time, a disaster could strike and threaten life on our planet. This is a plan for you and your family to come together in a time of chaos and meet in a safe place. Here are just a few examples of what events have led the Heart of the West to discovering me in order to deliver this message to the world.
The year 2011 began with a flood in Australia so vast it turned an area larger than Texas into a disaster zone. Little did we know then, there was much worse to come. In January, earthquakes hit Argentina, Chile, Iran, Pakistan, Tajikistan, and Tonga. In February, they hit Burma, the Pacific Islands, and the big one in Christchurch, New Zealand. Buildings were toppled, scores buried, 181 died. Survivors who crawled from collapsed office buildings were stunned.
It just came down, like, right down.
But the monster earthquake of 2011 was something out of a science fiction movie. The Great Japan earthquake was one of the strongest in recorded history. From 20 miles underwater, it created a tsunami 130 feet high that traveled 6 miles inland, causing cars and boats to bob like toys. It was a quake so powerful it moved the island of Honshu 8 feet. More than 15,000 people died and almost 5,000 are missing. Then, in a terrible twist, after the quake knocked out power at the Fukushima nuclear plant, the tsunami washed out its backup generators, the last line of defense against overheating. It would be the world's first triple meltdown, spreading radiation over a wide area. It was the worst disaster to afflict Japan since World War II. The world was still in shock when the southern and eastern United States experienced the worst rash of tornadoes in recorded weather history. The 2011 super outbreak, as it was called, included 4 monster EF5 tornadoes and led to almost 350 deaths and more than $6 billion in insured losses.
Tornadoes coming in the city. Massive tornado, massive destruction.
Then, just weeks later, on a Sunday afternoon in May, a mile-wide multiple vortex EF5 tornado plowed through Joplin, Missouri, obliterating whole sections of the town, killing 159 people and causing an estimated $2 billion in insured losses. The insurance industry was reeling. Americans were in shock. And unfortunately, the world's worst disasters could still be ahead, like a Category 5 hurricane making a direct hit on a large American city. But experts also study other scenarios many of us have never heard of. Geologists have warned that heavy rains on Mount Rainier in Washington state could cause a huge, deadly 40-mile mudslide, moving at 60 miles per hour and filled with rocks and trees. Some fear the collapse of the giant volcanic mountain Cumbre Vieja in the Canary Islands could send an 80-foot-high tsunami into the east coast of the United States at 600 miles per hour.
It began on New Year's Day. Thousands of dead blackbirds rained down on an Arkansas neighborhood, like a scene out of Alfred Hitchcock's horror movie, The Birds. Experts say they died from blunt force trauma in the air. But what caused the trauma is a mystery. Then, as many as 2 million dead fish in Maryland. But the mystery is not just in the US. In the UK, 40,000 velvet crabs littered the coast. Brazil, 100 tons of lifeless fish floated. And in Sweden, jackdaws fell in the dead of the night.
We reached the hill half an hour earlier and the road was completely clean. Then after half an hour the road was black and we became aware that the road was covered with dead birds or dying birds.
Next came Italy. Over 700 turtle doves fell, echoing the Arkansas bird deaths. Some lay hanging in the trees.
Here's one still alive. It let us take it, which isn't normal. This dove has a few hours of life left.
Across the world, the bizarre phenomena of creatures raining down or washing up on shore has mystified scientists.
All remains dark. The world has come to an end. Many ancient cultures from across the globe describe startling events that seem to be taking place now.
The heart of the West is a special place that is a last resort for when life seems like there can be no more. When all hope for modern day fails, and you feel lost with no hope for tomorrow. Life will continue living for those who choose to love life enough that they are willing and able to make it to the heart of the West. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is so significant about the heart of the West? I still can't see it. Well, the cities that make up the outline of the heart are symbolic in placement, purpose, and name. The cities represent the sinners and saints, forming a heart based on loving life and wanting to live peacefully. Las Vegas makes up the lower point of the heart, representing all the sinners of the world. Next, there is Salt Lake City, known as the City of the Saints. Reno, the biggest little city in the world, makes up the upper left aspect of the heart, merging the sinners and the saints of Las Vegas and Salt Lake. The noble place, Elko, Nevada, is where the heart comes together. The interior heart, much like that of a human heart, is clouded in mystery with Area 51. And finally, Eureka, which will be the place to find refuge inside the heart when the time comes. There is so much more to discover about the heart of the West, and so much that I wish to share with you. If you are concerned for the future and wish to continue to live in peace, I urge you to go to my website and to join us at the Heart of the West.